Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Free-to-Play cast brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. I am your host, Mike Byrne, aka magicman, and this is episode 291. We're recording on the 21st, and you know what? You're watching it on the 21st or later, because I'm going to put this little thing up right after we're done today, because I get tomorrow off. Yay! Joining me to talk about all the fun news, fresh off of his hot dog stand lunch, Mr. Jason Winter. How are you, sir?
If by stand you mean the microwave upstairs in the kitchen, then yeah, it was a hot dog stand.
God, and you microwaved it? What is wrong with you?
Look! I was told we were doing a podcast like 45 minutes ago. I was like, I'll have lunch after. But then we just keep going on and on. Mike's got this meeting that's taking like 6 hours or whatever. So I'm like, all right, I gotta grab a quick lunch. Let me just nuke some hot dogs.
Gross. Also on the line, hopefully not nuking hot dogs, Ms. Quinlan Bowers. What's up, Q?
No, but I have been known to eat them straight out of the package.
I haven't done that since I was like 8.
Yeah, I think I did that when I was younger, too. I mean, they're already pre-cooked there. You're really just...
They are pre-cooked,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to kill you.
Processed meat.
Yeah, it's just mystery meat in a very
T-
phallic
Cold
shape.
mystery. Ugh.
Yeah, cold mystery. Yeah, let's see. I don't like bologna. Ugh. I don't...
I can do it fried. Like
Ew.
my mom used to do that when she made breakfast for me, and I like that.
Yeah, that's poor kid growing up right there. The fried bologna.
Oh,
Well, it wasn't just that. It was part of a balance.
Did you ever do potato chip sandwiches with like Miracle Whip or mayo?
Oh, God, no! I mean, I grew up poor, so we did the bologna, you know, in Pittsburgh, it's jumbo, right? You guys probably don't know that. It's jumbo. Go get a pound of jumbo. What the fuck is jumbo? It's bologna. Or chip-chopped ham. Chip-chopped ham, not chipped ham. Chip-chopped ham, or chopped ham. Anyway, so we did the fried bologna, the Spam, and, you know, because we were poor, too, growing up, but I hated that shit, and I just, fried, Jason.
My parents would send me to school with a can of Vienna sausages or potted meat.
Oh, God. Yeah, my dad loved those Vienna sausages things. I thought they were gross, too. My dad also ate sardines, though, and I'm not a fan.
I like sardines.
Yeah, I can't do it. Like
But
mustard,
in
not
mustard.
the fish.
Sardines and mustard.
I'm
Sardines and pretty much anything else now.
Fine with the mustard, just not the sardine part.
So I know we've grossed out 90% of our viewers.
Let's slide over and get started with the news. Segue for the win, Jason. Nice job. All right,
Speaking of bad sausages.
Okay, we're going to talk about a game, and before anybody jumps into the comments, yes, we know this game in particular is not free to play. We know that. We're talking about it because, one, we find it ironic that it wasn't free to play to begin with. Two, the company that is behind it is known for free to play games. Three, it jumped into a genre that is predictably mostly free-to-play, and 4, it's getting its ass handed to it by a free-to-play game in that genre. So I want to start gathering everybody's opinions on PlanetSide Arena. And the reason I ask this, we talked about it on a show previously when it was announced, and we were all surprised that it wasn't free-to-play. It wasn't even like a pay-for-early access, and it's going to be free-to-play. The intent was to make it a purchase on PC and then later on consoles, specifically the PlayStation 4 being the one that they mentioned was already underway. So we did get an announcement this week from the PlanetSide Arena team saying, first off, huge thank you to everybody participated in beta the last few weeks, and they go on to thank you for your suggestions, your time, and your effort. After much consideration, we've decided to postpone the current PC-only release date, which, keep in mind, was supposed to be, what, the end of January initially?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like January 28th, 29th, somewhere around there.
Like that, yeah.
And launch simultaneously across PC and PlayStation 4 this summer. We've always envisioned PlanetSide Arena as a way for players to experience the epic gameplay of the PlanetSide universe, without playing PlanetSide, I guess, through fast-paced combined arms combat and massive-scale multiplayer modes. We believe that delivering the most polished version of PlanetSide Arena that meets that expectations on both platforms outweighs any other consideration. Now, in light of that, they I know, right? In light of that,
That's the consideration.
They did go ahead, and if you purchased any of the early access packs, they did offer the ability to go and get refunds for said pack. So if you were one of those that shelled out some money, you were at least able to go and recoup that money, knowing that now this is a spring/summer release, so it's going to be at least... technical terms for spring, it's going to be at least a little over a month before we could, at the earliest, see it release. And Jason, if a certain little thing hadn't happened in the free-to-play world in the last couple of weeks, I don't think too many people would have batted too much of an eyelash here, right?
You mean, okay, yeah, because Apex Legends came out. It's sensational, kicking everybody's ass. I feel like it's a little yes and no. Because I know that the PlanetSide Arena was going to launch with just whatever, I think like the Battle Royale mode, Massive Clash, 250 versus 250 group battle, and Battle Royale solos and teams of 3.
Right, of which, by the way, only the Battle Royale was actually available at the moment for players that were actually taking part in like the early access. I'm just looking here, it says Season 1 blasts off with 2 major game modes, so that's what I was looking at on their Steam page, so... Yeah, did Season 1 blast off, though?
Well, it's all pre-order editions come with Battle Pass Season 1, which includes additional weapon types, yada, yada. So I think they were planning to maybe launch with those 2 types. And, I mean, they already do have a Battle Royale game, so I feel like on some level, yeah, they were going to make it Battle Royale-ish. But also, you know, because they talked about having all the different modes they were going to have and so on. So I think, yeah, to some degree, that is what's happening, is that they did do it because of that. But also, I think that's what the reason for the delay is, so that they can get more modes into the game, so that it's not perceived as just another Battle Royale, a paid Battle Royale, whatever. So not only moving the Battle Royale launch away from the launch of Apex Legends, but also putting in more stuff so that people don't directly compare it to just Apex or any other Battle Royales out there.
Right, which is hard to do, right? I mean, you can see comments on the Steam discussion pages and stuff. Obviously, you can't see the reviews anymore. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, let's reset that. Well, you can't see the reviews anymore, but you do see comments on the forums and on the Steam discussion pages and things like that about, you know, it being a little underwhelming that there was, you know, one mode is the way a lot of people kept wording it. And now whether or not there was some of those other modes were playable in some sense or not, I don't know. But it was mainly Battle Royale at the moment. And, yeah, it's kind of hard to... sell people a product that isn't done, that is predominantly, if not only, depending on when you accessed it, Battle Royale, when you have something like Apex Legends happen the way it happened, Q.
Yeah, the whole thing was a little weird anyway. Like you said, you know, I think people weren't really expecting, you know, them to just kind of drop this, and then they're like, well, here you go. It's, you know, PlanetSide without actual PlanetSide, but you get to fight each other and whatever. And we're just going to roll along with what everybody else is doing because everybody else is making really good money at it until Apex Legends hit and took everybody's money. I mean, the only thing that might give Apex Legends competition at this point is, you know, the Tetris thing.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
So, I mean, like, but Apex Legends is just, it's one of those weird things that just kind of came out of nowhere, and it's doing surprisingly well. And everybody I know is talking about it and playing it, with the exception of the few people that decided that they were going to hop over into Anthem and bitch about it for a while. But
yeah,
it's just,
this one's brutal. And Jason, we kind of called it on the cast. I mean, I wore a Daybreak shirt. We made fun of it. We said when Apex Legends launched, there's somebody that's having a really bad day. You know, we had the shirt reveal showing the Daybreak logo and everything. I mean, there was no hiding how bad the launch of Apex Legends was to Daybreak and to PlanetSide Arena in particular.
To some degree, yeah, but it's like you talk about. They were getting mediocre reviews. Obviously, even before Apex Legends came out, they could see what their pre-order numbers were, and they'd already delayed it once. So I think it's part of the response, or part of the reason. I don't think it's everything, though. I think it was at least on the table. They were discussing it, like, should we delay this? Should we push it back a few more months? Then Apex Legends comes out. Everyone talks about that, and they're like, yeah, we can't compare to this. We better hold off another few months. So I think it's at least a 50-50 or a 60-40 kind of thing.
See, I view it more as, and Q will get your opinion on this afterwards here, so we know where Jason stands. My opinion is Apex was the straw that broke the camel's back. I agree with you that maybe there were discussions about, hey guys, you know, if we want to do cross-platform, if we want to do this, if we want to have some more game modes, the console space, you know, Fortnite is dominating that right now. Maybe we should consider a delay and combine PC and PS4 with a couple more modes and then launch it all as one product that way. I think when Apex came out, it was, this is catastrophic for our game, and we have to delay at this point because there is no way to not be compared to this. And they ninja launched the shit out of this, Apex Legends. It's relative, you know, it's got the whole class-based thing, which PlanetSide Arena was hoping to capitalize on. PlanetSide Arena's big distinguishing feature was that, hey, we're going to have multiple modes, something that I'm sure the Apex Legends team is already looking at, if not already having some in development to play around with it. And you don't have them in game to show, hey, this is why we're charging for ours. There's more here than just go do this. And yeah, Apex Legends may be great, but it only offers that one type of gameplay. Come play PSA. We offer this and this and this and this. Well, this and this and this and this wasn't there yet. And so now it's a direct one-up comparison. And quite honestly, Apex Legends performs better. It looks better. It's more fun to play. It's more polished. And granted, you know, where they are in development cycle weighs into that heavily, and maybe PlanetSide Arena's behind, but PlanetSide Arena, Q, in my estimation, really, really gimped itself right out of the gate. I mean, it looks like PlanetSide 2, which is already a dated graphical game, and arguably these modes should have just been added to PlanetSide 2, not made into a whole new game. So I think Apex was the straw that broke the camel's back and forced this to be delayed. And that's totally just my opinion, speculation as a pundit that watches all this stuff all the time. But Q, where do you factor in here?
I mean, I do think that Apex Legends had some bearing on it, but when you talk about, you know, well, there's going to be multiple modes, and you know they wanted to be on both platforms and all of this stuff. Obviously, games have launched plenty of times that have been on two platforms, but they roll the next one out later, and then they play catch up or whatever.
Happens all the time.
It's not something that's necessarily worth them stopping the launch if on one platform if there's not already something going on, especially when that launch on the first platform already has money coming in, right? So now they're having to offer refunds and everything else. Like there's more there going on, and I think it is the comparison thing. But then too, you know, them launching with just you saying, you know, like there's no way people can't compare it to Apex Legends, just like there's no way that people can't compare it to literally every other battle royale game that is out there. So I think they came along and realized that they tried to sneak out a bad product, and they realized that you know people just aren't buying into it, especially
literally aren't buying it,
especially with Apex Legends launching. And being like, and you know, and it's not just like, oh, this game is just beating us. It's this game is beating everybody else right now.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's going to continue to is, you know, a whole other question. But right now, it's just kicking everybody's ass. And they were going to try to, you know, kind of edge out there and get out. And it's like, well, now there's really no choice, because people might have been a little bit tired of Fortnite. They might have been, you know, been a little bit tired of the other stuff and be willing to pop in and try it. But they're definitely not going to win something that's literally a superior game. Just drops on their heads.
PlanetSide Arena, by the way, was so yeah, it was originally scheduled for January 29th, so we were right on that. But then it was delayed, like you said, Jason, once already into March, and now it's being delayed yet again. So I want to read you guys this. This is from a Polygon article on the subject by Owen S. Good. So kudos to Owen Good. The headline, of course, pretty basic. PlanetSide Arena delayed again, this time to summer. The sub-headline you gotta love, though. Did Apex Legends have anything to do with it? I mean, so it's not even like people like that are really on the inside and cover this stuff like we do every day going, hey, you know, A probably had a bit of an influence on B. This kind of just seemed readily apparent that Apex Legends came out, and then like a week later, PlanetSide Arena is like, hey, we're delaying things. In the article, Owen says, left unsaid Friday, but potentially relevant, is the surprise launch of a strong success of Apex Legends on February 4th. While Daybreak maintains PlanetSide Arena will have multiplayer game types other than a battle royale, Apex Legends makes it even harder to break from the field of multiplayer shooters, something that has troubled Daybreak's other battle royale, H1Z1. And so I kind of asked this, Jason. We saw what happened with H1Z1. It came out, it split into 2 games. They both kind of withered on the vine. One totally died, and the other one is on life support. It almost feels like Daybreak didn't learn the lesson here. When you had things that you thought were cool that worked with your PlanetSide Arena, and I know lore-wise they try to say, well, we couldn't just add it in there because it takes place in the future and everybody's a mercenary, and that's not what's going on in PlanetSide 2. Yeah, you're right. Okay, you can't just make a separate game mode. I understand. That's ridiculous. It just feels like they didn't learn from their own mistakes, and now you've pissed off the PlanetSide 2 people that have stuck with you for a while, feeling like they need to buy this if they want to play this type of game mode when it should be in their game. Now you're pissing off the people that, relatively small base, that was actually excited about this product enough to give you early access money. Where is the win here across the board for Daybreak? How do they get out of this for a company that I would argue, even if you think nothing untoward is going on with who owns the company or anything, set all that aside, I can't help but look at Daybreak and go, where the fuck is the money coming from to run this place still?
Yeah. I think Q actually hit it on the head when she said basically they tried to sneak out a mediocre product and charge people for it, and that didn't. And then they realized that plan wasn't going to work. I think because it's like you said at the start too. You were like, oh, they're going to release a finished game, not a beta or anything. And I'm thinking, yeah, right. It was early access. You're paying for it. It's going to go free to play later, whatever. So that's basically what they were doing, trying to get that money as soon as they could. Maybe it even goes free to play now when they actually launch it in June. Maybe that'll be the actual plan then. Maybe they'll look at it and figure that out.
I think they have to.
The thing is, well, yeah, they have to do that. But the thing is that I'm noticing, I've been looking at like the Steam charts numbers from various battle royale games, and it's like, okay, here they're all doing this. We're all doing this. Okay, Apex Legends launches, but now for the past couple of weeks, it's like, and they're kind of getting back to where they were before. Down a tiny bit, but at least in the short term, it's not having a really long-term effect, it seems, on their population. So I think they see that same thing. They'll probably notice that as well, especially with H1Z1. This is probably their best strategy. I mean, their only choice, I think, was to delay it for an extra couple of months. As you said, add new game modes. Yeah. Make it so that it's not just a carbon copy of everything else that's out there.
And it's got to launch free to play.
That too. But like I said, again, that same notion that they were going to launch it when it was really going to be early access with limited mode and so forth, and make it better later. But yeah,
it's a weird situation that I think was. I agree with you to an extent, Jason. I think it was destined to have something happen to it. I think Apex just shoved it off the cliff, and it was like, we have to go this way now. I also think, like, to your point about trending, though, like, obviously that always happens, right? The new Sexy comes out, there's 700 bajillion players for the first week, the Steam charts are off the roof, and then 2 weeks later it's Bless Online. But that happens. That's typical. And to your point, like, maybe Fortnite even took a dip as Apex came out, because those Battle Royale players had a new Battle Royale to go check out, and now, as you point out, maybe creeping back up, because some of them are saying, okay, yeah, this is fun, this is cool, but I'm going to go back to Fortnite. I think Battle Royale and those types of games in general have a leg up on, like, full-blown MMORPGs, where you can play 2 or 3 or even 4 different battle royales, whatever you're feeling that night, whatever your friends are playing, and it's not a big deal. Once you start hitting the multiple MMORPGs, it really starts to become chaotic and impossible to keep up in any single one of them. So I'm not surprised by everybody creeping back up, because I don't find it that big a deal that you could play Apex Legends on Tuesday and then Fortnite on Wednesday, and progression-wise, it doesn't matter if you choose to do that.
Sure.
Q, you look like you want to chime in there with a thought. You got your thinking finger on your chin.
So Game Skinny had me do a post on the best Apex Legend streamers to watch. And when I was scrolling through, when they had me do it, it turned out that Apex Legends was actually doing stuff on Twitch where they got, was it 49, I think, of the top streamers on Twitch to play their game for like the first 2 weeks for part of a tournament thing that they were doing. So they did a really good job of promoting their game, because they had Ninja and Shroud and God, I can't like remember who all else, but they basically, if you were one of the top streamers on Twitch, you were playing Apex Legends for 2 weeks straight.
Yeah, and that definitely makes some numbers suspect too, Jason, you know, right off the bat. Was that ingenious marketing and everything was above the table, or were there some, you know, it's always hard to not think there were dubious things going on and money exchanging hands for things like that. I tend not to trust, it's not that I don't trust the streamers themselves. I would never impugn their credibility unless I knew for a fact it deserved to be impugned. But you always kind of go, hey, wait a minute. These dudes and dudettes that are always streaming Fortnite, that's what their audience is based on. Every single one of them has jumped to this game. I find that a little odd.
I don't as much, because one of the other rules of streaming is you play what's popular.
That's true. That's
so
true.
If
well, I'm not impugning them. I'm just saying it does bring up maybe.
The point is they were playing. They were all practicing for a tournament being put on by the developer.
Yeah, and so maybe it was just you know, a genius marketing move for them. Let's get the top streamers in a competition, and hey, that'll get the views.
And it wasn't just Fortnite. I mean, it was there was one streamer who does I think like mostly does like kid games or something, and they were doing it. Like basically, if you were in the top 49 streamers on Twitch, Fortnite or not, you were in this.
For what it's worth, looking right now, Ninja is #1 in terms of Apex streaming.
Yeah, and I just can't imagine it, Jason. Like, we put up a favorable interview with somebody, and we're accused of being paid for the interview. Could you imagine having 100,000 people watch you and you switch games? The number of people that are like, they paid you to do this. They paid you to switch.
I remember one time reading a while back, I think it was PewDiePie, just on a random stream, had mentioned that he likes Dr. Pepper, and they were like, "Oh man, they're getting paid by Dr. Pepper." Like, no, I just like it.
Lots of people like Dr. Pepper. Yeah. It's okay.
All right, let's move on. We got a bit of a rapid fire round here, lots of small news, and we'll wrap it up with some financials. We did do a show last week because really all we had to talk about were those financials, and they weren't all that stellar, and the Blizzard layoffs, which really, really wasn't stellar. So instead of depressing the hell out of the cast viewers last week, we just threw the financials on here. But let's go through the rapid fire round first. Predictably, Q, Alfonso Ribeiro, the actor who played Carlton famously on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, has been denied his request to copyright the Carlton dance, so that my guess is step 2 would have been to continue to try to go after Fortnite for using that dance. We suggested on the show that probably was not going to happen, and here we go, the Copyright Office saying no. Q, honestly, any surprises here?
No, and I mean, there's a couple of reasons. One, I'm still not sure who that dance belongs to. Like, was it his, or did it belong to the show or the network or whoever? But two, with copyright in anything, right, you have to, and it's the same reason, like way back in the day when Kevin Rose was still running Dig and everything, they would go after people who used Dig in something immediately, because if you let one person get away with using it, and then you come back later and you're like, oh, this is copyrighted, though. Nobody's supposed to use it. The court goes. So, I mean, it was in so many games and stuff already. It's in a ton of MMOs, and it's been used in so many other forms of media. That how are you going to come back now and be like, well, it's popular in Fortnite, so we're just going to try to sue Fortnite over this dance that literally everybody's used in something by now.
Jason, I did find some of the copyright office's statements on this to be rather interesting. I mean, one was the one that you and I talked about behind the scenes and talked about on the free-to-play cast that was just like, you don't own it. You don't own it. You don't own the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You don't have the royalties or rights to that. You don't own that particular episode. To us, it was like somebody at NBC probably owns that, and even that claim would be, you know, is short-sighted at best. And the Copyright Office said that. They said the copyright notice for the episode in which it first appeared lists solely National Broadcasting Company Incorporated. Thus, plaintiff's copyright claims fail, as his allegation that the dance was created for an episode owned by NBC means that he has not plausibly alleged ownership of a valid copyright. But then they did hold it against him that it was used on Dancing with the Stars, too. Not only did they, by the way, go, hey, this isn't even choreography, this is just a simple dance move, and they, like, detailed it down as the dancer takes 2 steps to the side while opening and closing their legs. They just said it was a dance step. It wasn't even a choreographic work. But then they did say to this, Ribeiro admits to creating the alleged dance for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but did not register the dance with the Copyright Office, presumably because he knows that he does not own the copyright for it. Since Mr. Ribeiro performs a choreographic work with his professional dance partner, Whitney Carson, and internet sources indicate that most of the professional dancers on this program create the choreography for their celebrity partner, we question whether the application names the correct author or authors for this work, because he let his partner add that as choreography into dancing. It's just nuts. It is ridiculous.
And apparently in other interviews, he said that the dance itself was inspired by previous things he'd seen. The one notable one being the Bruce Springsteen video of Dancing in the Dark, when he brings Courtney Cox on stage and they kind of do it. So, yeah. And the other thing too about creating something for your show, I don't know if maybe you've got this too with your real job, whatever code you create or whatever. But I know when I was working for a game company, one of the things in my contract of employment was, if you create a game, even if Jason Winter, creates a game, it belongs to the company. Yep.
If I use any of my company's resources, even up to and including typing it on their computer and then printing it out for me or emailing it, if I use any of their resources, it's theirs, even if it's not created specifically for the company. Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, it's the same. That's the same sort of thing with regards to him on the show. It belongs to NBC or Will Smith or whoever. I don't know.
All right, so no surprises there. And I like how they were like, this isn't even a choreographic work. This is you don't even have that claim. It's a simple 2-step. Speaking of battle royales from earlier in Q, you kind of teased this one, Tetris 99. If you don't know what this is, it's a Tetris Battle Royale. A BR I can get behind. It's about time. It's about time. In large-scale 99-player battles, it'll take speed, skill, and strategy to knock out the competition, become the last player standing. Play Tetris till everybody else loses. Excuse me for the hiccup there. But there's some targeting back and forth, like you may be used to in 2-player Tetris, in the other console versions, except 99 people over the internet. Now, disclaimer here: this is free to play, but just like on things like the Xbox Gold, you do need to have Nintendo's online service. So you do have to pay for that online service, but the game is free. I give this one a huge thumbs up. As stupid as it sounds, I think it's incredibly fun, incredibly addictive, and tailor-made for the Switch with its on-the-go stuff. Q.
Yeah, I actually had to do the Nintendo Direct thing last week, and that when I saw that, I was just like, holy crap, now I really want to Switch.
Right?
Screw everything else, I want this.
Jason, you laughed at this, but this is a BR I can get behind.
Probably about 7 or 8 years ago when I was working for the magazine, I found a site. It's still up. I think it's officially done. It's called TetrisFriends.com, and it has like a 6-player Tetris battle royale-ish type thing. I used to play the heck out of that back in the day. So, make a browser-based version of this. I don't have to buy a Switch and pay money for it. Then I'll be all over it.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of where my brain went. While I could understand the appeal of getting this on the Switch with the whole mobile functionality, and I'm all for it, I also went, God, that's such a good idea that why isn't that on every other platform? Like, I understand Nintendo is not going to let that go to PlayStation and Xbox without a fight, but how is there not a PC version of that? That is...
Mobile version.
My phone.
Yeah, or a mobile version. Yeah, mobile version. Although I think, again, Nintendo would try and keep exclusivity on this as long as they can. And I get it. Putting it on the Switch was the right idea if they weren't going to do it mobile. Jason, let's turn this one over to you. Your boys at Heroes of Newerth. Yeah. It's over. Turn out the lights.
It's mode time. Well, I mean, they're keeping the lights on. They're just not installing any new lights. I guess when one burns out, they're just going to let it go. So, but yeah. Heroes of Newerth, which launched into beta only 2 weeks after League of Legends did. So, you know, they went on parallel paths for a while and then just kind of...
Wow.
Yeah, it's not going to get any more active development, no more updates. It is basically in maintenance mode, so...
There you go, gang. I mean, not really much to say. It's over. The party's over.
It's one more major patch on February 26th. And then any future patches will, quote, generally consist of a small amount of balance changes and or bug fixes if they are deemed necessary.
If they're deemed necessary. I love that that's at the end of that quote. If we deem them necessary. On the Guild Wars 2 front, we're getting Battle Cat. Yeah. Not really much to say. It's a cool looking
mount. It's a cat.
Mount.
It's a mount. It's a siege engine. It's all in one.
Yeah, it's a cool looking mount.
Yeah, it's cool looking, but
And there's a typo in here. All right.
What?
I'll go fix that afterwards. Paragraph 2, ABD. I think it's supposed to be and.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever. Q, any thoughts on Battle Cat besides it looks freaking awesome?
I mean, it's huge.
It is huge. I mean, that is a massive mount. I'm not going to play the video because I don't want to get into copyright troubles here. But here, we'll do this.
Can more than one person ride it at a time?
No, sadly. I always thought though they should make it so that Asura can ride Char.
I have a player mount.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely.
Jason, what's going on with Path of Exile? You did another interview with them. They've got some big things happening there.
Yep,
what's the Synthesis expansion stuff?
And they got another expansion coming out next month called Synthesis. And the big point of it is that there's this NPC, this ghost guy called Kavas. Apparently, he's very important to the lore of Path of Exile, but he's lost all his memories. So you have to go through. It's kind of like what a lot of other expansions have been. They're going to make these new separate kind of zones you can go into, have little excursions into. You go through there, you help him piece together his memories. Obviously, you get loot along the way. But the cool thing about it is that the memory chunks that you encounter, you kind of place them in like a board. And you use the game Carcassonne as an example. You have to make little paths between all the memory chunks to try to get to the good, like static chunks that have the really good loot in them. So, yeah, again, they like taking stuff from other games and sort of melding it into their own. So, it's kind of how it is.
Going with the Blizzard approach there. Q, I think we've got a game that'll have Path of Exile right in its target coming up here. We've got finally Torchlight Frontiers headed to its last alpha test at the beginning of March, and the NDA falls at that time, so I'll finally be able to show some of the things I've been playing. Still excited for it?
Of course I'm still excited for it.
All right, good. All right, Q, you get this last one because we read it last night when it was under embargo, and we were both like, wait, this can't be right. What is going on in Terra?
They're doing a PUBG crossover, which is weird for so many reasons, not the least of which being one is free to play and one is not. But it's basically they're going to do some kind of PUBG themed stuff in there around the BAMs, and you're going to be able to get, outfits, and pets and just different goodies. There's also going to be drops, just like there would in PUBG. There's going to be drops and consumables you have to pick up and everything else. It's just, I don't know. It's a little weird.
Yeah, and I've seen some weird crossovers in my day, Jason. You know, I'm Final Fantasy 14 player. We had the whole, you know, we've had a few of them, and most of them were Square Enix titles where, okay, it's an RPG and it's Square. I get it. Dragon Quest coming into Final Fantasy, that's a little weird. But then we had Monster Hunter, which you were like, okay, both games beat up big dragons, so let's do a crossover event. This one kind of takes the cake for me, at least in recent memory, just thinking off the top of my head as being a weird-ass crossover.
Well, you know what the connection is between them.
En masse?
Bluehole.
Bluehole Studios, yeah, the development company. I get that,
so,
but
I mean,
you know, I don't see Square Enix putting a Hitman crossover in my Final Fantasy 14 anytime soon. I get that they're developed by the same house.
They'll put anything in there eventually. You just wait. They're gonna do that. I want to see that when they do put a Hitman
Final
crossover.
Fantasy Lara Croft.
You know, if they ever do a Final Fantasy Chrono crossover in it, let me know and I'll come.
Oh, absolutely. That one's a no-brainer.
Those both RPGs. That would make too much sense.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that Hitman.
All right, let's finish up with some financials and get to the bombs. We've kind of got a tale of two cities going on here. One very, very up. One very, very down. So let's start with the bad news first, Jason. Who did not have the best Q4? Setting aside Blizzard, who had a record-setting Q4, Activision Blizzard, and still laid off 800 people. You dicks. You absolute dicks. I'll leave it on that note. We don't have to get into it. Our condolences to those who have lost their jobs, and we hope they get picked up very quickly. We know it sucks when that happens. But besides Blizzard, who didn't have such a great Q4?
Yeah, I just want to say, though, I've been seeing people talk about the whole Daybreak stuff and, you know, PlanetSide and so on, saying, oh, I hope those poor devs don't lose their jobs. I'm like, you know, you've been working at that company for the last year or two and you aren't throwing your resume everywhere. I got no pity for you.
Yeah, so, I mean, you kind of got to be on that one and at least read the writing on the wall.
No kidding. Anyway, so about the company that did not do very well in Q4 was NCSoft. Basically, down almost across the board in terms of sales for everything except Lineage 2, which did really well. Everything else, though, down somewhat, maybe not catastrophically so, but definitely soft, much softer than it was the previous year and previous quarter.
Do you want to buy it?
Want to buy stock?
No, just buy NCSoft.
Oh, buy NCSoft? No, it's Nexon that's for sale.
Yeah, and Tencent is rumored to be part of a conglomerate that is looking to purchase that one, so we weren't far off with that. How did NCSoft do, though? I'm sorry, how did Nexon do now that it's potentially courting new ownership? How did their finances look?
It had record high results and the highest full-year PC and mobile results for 2018.
Imagine that. They had a stellar fourth quarter while marketing themselves. That's not dubious numbers at all.
To be honest, you got to put the numbers out there. And if I assume there's some similar thing in Japan, like the FCC over here. It's like or SEC or whatever, that you can't just make up the numbers. So yeah, whatever.
Oh right, yeah, that never happens over here.
No, sure, but yeah.
Bernie Madoff. That never happens over here.
But the point that I find interesting is that they are a lot big. The one that I found really interesting is how much bigger they are in non-China. China usually they have this pie chart. It's usually like China's half of it, Korea's most of the other half, and every little region is this tiny little chunk of the pie chart. But that's not been the case recently. They've actually really, I don't know if they've done better in the other regions or if they've done worse than the previous ones, but they've definitely spread out a bit more. So. Yeah,
North America and Europe tied for 9% of the Q4 revenue by region. So we got a battle going on for last place. We're also tied with Japan.
Screw you, Europe. We're going to kick your ass.
Yeah. We got a battle going on for who could be less revenue for them. So any word besides, you know, hey, who was it? Netmarble? Is that who it was off the top of my head?
Yeah,
Netmarble, Tencent, and
like funding from Tencent. So it's like because Nexon, like they're all talking about how we don't want to be purchased by a foreign company, which I guess means like American,
right?
Because there are a couple that are at least in the talks there. So yeah, they want to keep it close by. They want to keep it. They talk about being in Korea because they have Korean ties, even though they're technically a Japanese. That's where they're based. So yeah, they definitely want to keep it at least in that part of the world.
We shall follow it.
Seeing the Activision stuff, I can't blame them.
Right. We shall follow it and keep you posted on any changes. But in the meantime, let's do the weekly bombs. Q, you're up first.
You know what? I'm going to give an A-bomb to myself because I have been spending like the last 2 weeks, every time I open Steam to play something, I'm just like, I don't know what I want to do. And then I end up turning it off and watching TV instead.
Oh, I did mean to tell you, Q, that quite a few viewers thought that one of our funniest episodes was when you were just a bystander in the episode and just flashed messages on your Skype because of the internet connections.
I thought about doing that this time just to start out, and I was like, nah.
Quite a few people thought that was hysterical. I got a few emails about it, but I totally spaced on telling you that. I just thought about it when you were doing your weekly bomb. Jason, go ahead, sir.
The bomb to Q's internet, but no.
Yeah, it's doing well today.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna give it the bomb to Total War Arena. It wasn't perfect, but I liked it. I played a good bit of it. Shuts down tomorrow, so. Oh well.
Really broken up about it. I'm going to give a dub bomb to refunds from Daybreak. Absolutely the right thing to do. No question. But not exactly the decision I would have expected out of Daybreak from time to time. It gets a little messy there, so I applaud them for, if I'm going to criticize them for doing what I think is the wrong thing, or any company, I'll applaud them when I think they do the right thing. And so here's applause for Daybreak.
Now, how about now we get our landmark refunds?
Shut up. From the viewers, Pudding Bear says, "Da-bomb to Apex for being a good game and not pay to win or pay for fun. A-bomb to Respawn Entertainment for not considering classic arcade-style modes. Bagman, Deathmatch, Capture the Flag. There's a good amount of areas that would work for 4v4. The ship we can land on is a great one. I exclude loot boxes from the A-bomb because we can buy the same items with in-game currency." Jason.
Hadrick Sky Shadow says, A-bomb to Skyforge. So I won a code from your giveaway, so I decided to go back and play the game. I played before, uninstalled it about 2 years ago, got bored playing alone, unlocked all the classes and had a good bit of money and gear. Logging in today, got nothing. No class, no money, no level. WTF. Tried my other accounts. Apparently I don't have any other. I made other accounts to be clear. Looks like I was rolled back to at least 200H. I don't know what that means. And my other accounts deleted. Well, that's fun. Oh gee, guess what game I'll never play again.
Oh my god, I'd be so pissed if I just logged into Final Fantasy tomorrow and they were like, "Yeah, have fun, start over."
Yeah, it's been a whole long since I played Skyforge. I should log in and see if I still have any of my stuff.
Yeah, go ahead and download it. I'm sure you'll take the time to check, Jason.
Look, I've got the stupid my.com launcher.
I hate that launcher.
Yeah.
That launcher is the worst. The launcher that even when you close it isn't closed.
Oh, a lot of them do that.
No. I'm talking about, so fine, you hit X and it goes to your system tray or whatever. But my.com is, even if you go to your system tray and close it from there, I've still had that fucking thing running in the background, hidden, where I don't even have an icon anymore, and I've had to Control, Delete, find it to shut it down.
Okay.
Go ahead, Q.
Slash Coon, the bomb to the great Dota 2 mods like Dota Auto Chess.
Woot woot.
Short bomb.
Yeah. Squeezy says, A-bomb to Apex Legends for flogging a dead horse. Rip Daybreak. For the real bomb, da-bomb to Respawn because I hate Battle Royales in general, but Respawn did an amazing job. It's going to be tough for PlanetSide Arena to outside Apex Legends. Squeezy, we totally agree. Go ahead, Jason. What the hell is that? Somebody playing drums?
Barney doing stuff over there.
Oh, okay. I was like, what the? Is somebody getting slapped? What is going on here?
Penny Musta says, don't really like those once you die, it's game over and back to lobby games. Same reason why I never enjoyed CS 1.6 besides playing LAN with friends. World of Warships makes an exception to this for me because you can get back to action in a minute or two, and firing 9 huge 460mm 18-inch guns makes up for it. I agree. Plus, that's not a game where like you're going to play for 2 minutes, immediately get headshotted and be out of it. So
true.
Unless you're a stupid destroyer player who charges in like me. But.
Or you're a destroyer that has a head. Question of the week last week. What are your initial thoughts on Apex Legends? We've already heard some of them in the weekly bombs, but the game, the way it launched, the monetization, any thoughts you had. Hydrex Sky Shadow goes into a little detail here, says, honestly, I like the game. What it looks like to me, Overwatch characters in a battle royale with with COD graphics, but for some reason, for me at least, it works. I'm having a lot of fun playing it, but I do have problems with it. For one, the frame rate is so freaking random. One game I'm getting nice 60 frames per second, but the next I'll go complete slow motion, and the next 2 to 3 frames per second, then back to 60, and so on. I don't get it. To be clear, my PC is capable of running any other game on Ultra 60 FPS, no problem. And the second is more of a personal problem. The fact that I can find legendary armor and no weapons in the first 60 seconds. I got a med kit. He has a shotgun with an assault rifle. Brilliant. The only things I have to survive is parkour and kung fu. And trust me, you can't block bullets with your hands or outrun the bullet. Trust me, I've tried. That is the definition of my Battle Royale experience. I always manage to find a sack full of rocks.
At least that you could swing at a guy. I can't even find that half the time.
Go ahead, Jason.
Stone or something says, hope Apex Legends gets an update adding classic game modes. They can call it Apex Champions. It's worth checking out. Also remember, it's free to play, F2P, not pay to win, or paid for fun or pay to win.
Lots of feedback saying that exact same thing, that they are not pay to win. Good on them, which is amazing, because remember, it's EA. Although, keep in mind, that could change, right?
Anything could change.
Right. Call of Duty Black Ops 4 just got more loot boxes. They're awful. They're horrendous. That game's been out for a year. Almost a year, right? Something like that. I don't know. In the last year. Q, go ahead.
Dracon, I think that Apex Legends doesn't need a solo player option because the communication with the ping system is just perfect. And with 3-player squads, there's always more winners in the end. Even if you suck at the game, your team can carry you to victory.
I've had 2 wins because my team's carried me to victory.
My son, the first game he ever played, I mean, he got murked hard. I watched him just die, but his team, he won, because you're absolutely right. The team communication and I will tell you this. So I played Anthem a bit on the PC this week with the EA Origin $15 subscription thing, right? And so I got to play it this past week before it came out tomorrow. And as much as I'm not a fan of Battle Royale, my time in Apex Legend and then jumping over to Anthem made me really wish that Anthem had that fucking ping system in it. Apex Legends did such a good job with that quick communication with strangers system that Anthem, I was just like, oh my god, it needs to be in here. It needs to be in here.
I was playing Overwatch the other day, and I see somebody flanking on our side, and I click my middle mouse button because I want to alert my teammates. I'm like, no, wait, that doesn't work. I've
seen a lot of people saying on Twitter that they wish that system was in other games.
Yeah, I mean, they did such a solid job with that. Even if I'm not a huge BR fan, I got to acknowledge how good that is. Q, did you take that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Metallica fan 1442 says, never really been hooked by Battleground games. Tried Fortnite, PUBG, etc., but jumped on Apex Legends with a few mates, and it's been fun. Jason.
Slayer Master PWI says, my thoughts on Apex is just bleh. Not only do I not like Battle Royale, but I will not play anything published by EA. The Need for Speed franchise having a slot machine with Payback was the last straw for me. Titanfall 2 was the last game I bought that was published by EA. Until they stop with the greedy bullshit, I won't play anything else they publish, free to play or not.
And you know what? I can't fault you for that opinion, Slayer Master. We vote with our wallets, and that's exactly what you're doing. Go ahead, Q.
Slashcoon. Meh, another Battle Royale.
It's hard not to have that attitude, too, towards it, I guess, to a certain extent. So, thank you to all who gave your feedback. Our question of the week for this week. If you've seen in the past, Jason has been doing some historical articles, like if you don't know where clerics started using maces when it comes to MMORPGs, we got an article for you. We have articles on some other topics where MMOs and tropes in the game come from historically, and he's looking to do another one. So I ask you this. What aspect of MMOs would you like to see Jason Winter investigate the actual real-life historical origins of? Put your thoughts in the comments below. While you're there, don't forget your weekly bombs. D-bomb for something good, A-bomb for something bad, or hell, if you just want to talk to us or ask a question, throw that in there too. We'll be sure to put it on the show. Until next week, Q, where can everybody find you?
hanging out on Twitter at Quinlan.
Jason.
I'm on Twitter at Winter Informal, streaming twitch.tv/JasonWinter, and in a few minutes up in the kitchen making another hot dog.
Blah! I'm Mike Byrne, aka Magic Man. I do not microwave hot dogs because I'm not a sociopath. You can follow me on
You're
Twitter.
You're a sociopath, just in a different way.
Right here at MagicMan1, but more importantly, while you're there, follow at MMOBomb so we can tweet you all the giveaways, interviews, first look videos, free to play cast, free to play weekly, and more. Until next time, stay safe. See you on the servers.